a lot has gone down since we have last been on the platforms.
What about the billions of people that have no chance for any health care at all? Many of them, if not most of them, brown and black.
We must question the true felt impact for the average black person.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. It's always like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And we are on a Sunday afternoon. It's the last Sunday in January. And for me, January took forever to finish. I don't know about anybody else, but it just took a long time. But it's January 26, as I said, last Sunday in January. And Sunday afternoons, it's Black Canada Talking, where basically myself and another gentleman give our points and POVs and takes on what's going on in the world. And let's bring up this gentleman because he celebrated something special yesterday. What is up, Cesar?
Brother Vibe, thank you for having me always. Thank you to our brothers and sisters and allies on the online. Pleasure.
And a few things. So you had a special day yesterday.
Yes, yesterday some family and friends came together at an African restaurant, African barbecue house.
Ooh.
Here in Ottawa and expanding to Toronto, by the way. And it was great turnout, of course. Great restaurant. Congratulations to the staff, including the young lady who spent time playing with the kids, entertaining them, going out of the way to get me a birthday cake, which the kids loved. It was great. I'm very appreciative, and we will definitely be back to bring them business. African barbecue house.
Whoa! So what did you dine on? Tell us what you went in on.
I'm a fish type of person.
Okay.
When there's fish on the menu, so I also cook fish myself, so that's always great. But people love the plantains, the chicken, beef, goat. Yeah. Everything was there. It was very much African Caribbean. The plantains were there. Everything was there.
Nice. And actually, I didn't know this until I don't do social media much, but I went on today. 5 years ago, a very prominent basketball player lost his life in a crash, and his daughter. Do you remember?
5 years ago, 2020. No, I can't remember.
He was in I don't know if it's a helicopter or a plane crash. Him and
Of course. Yes, Kobe
Bryant.
And CNN is having a documentary, I believe, or CNN special.
Okay.
Yes, it was in January of 2020. I remember.
Yeah.
I was not a Kobe fan on the court, but I respected the brother's hard work, and he's one of those people who grew on me more after retiring. In the let's say internal conflict between Kobe and Shaq.
Yes.
Shaq has been my player since I'm a teenager, since I know basketball.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Since I've come to Canada, North America from France, Shaq has been, of course, everybody likes Michael Jordan, but no, Shaq over Kobe for me.
All right.
And 5 years already. Wow.
Yeah, time.
Rest for the ancestors, Kobe and I believe Gigi, and it is from Kobe Bryant that I notably say I'm a girl dad, right? It's from Kobe Bryant that he got popularized. Yeah.
Yes. So I actually, attended an interesting event yesterday, Operation Black Vote Canada. had a Black Men's Political Summit.
Okay. How was it?
It was interesting. It was good. A lot of different Black male representatives from different levels and people who work on the back end of government. Now, Frank Bayless was there, who was former member of Parliament, who's running for leadership of the Liberal Party. He was there. It was well attended, very well attended. I could only spend for a few hours there, then left. And I had a conversation with a gentleman named Dr. Carl James, who's a longtime social science researcher from York University. And we were breaking down some of the stuff that we're chatting about today. And it was, we're just in unison. So hopefully I'm going to see if I can get him to come on the show, because esteemed individual, does a lot of social science research. And it was nice to have a good conversation with him. Interesting part that Operation Black Vote, and I got to say, I don't know if they're celebrating their 20th or 25th anniversary, and this was the first time they had a Black Men's Political Summit.
Yeah.
So it was, but it was good. It was good. It was well attended. It was good to be there. Ran into Ryan Knight was there, and ran into some people I hadn't seen for a while. And it too was really well catered by Selwyn. I can't remember Selwyn's last name, but the food was. Woo! I broke my diet, my usual eating habits for Selwyn. Didn't want to make him frown on me, so it was really worth it. But before we get into any comments on the upcoming leadership race for the Liberals, it seems that Mark Carney is gathering a lot of government support. Ministers.
I have a friend of mine, a brother from TNT. Trinidad and Tobago.
Yep.
Who basically analyzed, he's a public servant and everything, and he basically analyzed that Chrystia Freeland may have backstabbed Trudeau for her own interest when she resigned, when she did, but that ultimately she may have done herself enough harm being so closely associated to Trudeau that it didn't matter. It's kind of like, and I mean, I'm not just saying that I think of Chrystia Freeland as a traitor, I mean, as vice prime minister, but, there's a great leader from a little bit more than 2,000 years ago named Julius Caesar, who had an expression: he loves treason, but he hates traitors. And one of the issues that come with being seen as a traitor is that if people think that you betrayed, it becomes really hard for anyone to trust you, including for those who would have trusted you if you had not betrayed. I'm not saying that's what's going on in terms of the Liberal Party regarding opposition to Chrystia Freeland, but clearly she's more competent. And yes, she's a woman. We never truly had a woman prime minister in Canada. She's clearly more competent than Mark Carney, who falsely claims he's an outsider. You can't be an outsider when you've been an advisor to the prime minister for months, and you're the former governor of the Bank of Canada, and before that of the Bank of England during Brexit. You're very much an insider. So the rebranding here is definitely working for Mr. Mark Carney, which also helps because on the opposition, to have a strong white male leader in appearance as Pierre Poilievre tends to comfort people more with having in opposition a strong male leader.
All right. On that note, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in about 30 seconds. And these days, there is so much to talk about. Sometimes I wish Cesar could come on every week, but I let him have a life. Because the way things are moving these days, we need to have him on every week, but family is first. All right. We'll be back in
Canada
30
Talking,
seconds, where Black Canadians give their takes, POVs, and insights on local, provincial, national, international conversations. Cesar Ndema-Moussa. What is up, Cesar?
Hi, Dr. Vibe. Thanks for having me. And it jeopardized your ability to sustain yourself financially.
40 programs have been suspended due to the drop in revenue.
We see this happening over and over again throughout history.
What does that tell you about America? All right, a little promo there. Black Canada Talking. So let's get into things. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We're finally past 1,660 subscribers. So our next goal is 1,670 subscribers. If you are up to it, subscribe on the YouTube channel. And I will say the replays of our conversations get a lot of good traction. And it's not because of me. It's because of Cesar. All right. Please like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe at the drbibeshow.com. You can also catch replays of these epic conversations on Indie. And let back here. And in the last 9 months now, over 22,000 YouTube subscribers. And most important, if you want to get in touch with Cesar, there's his email address, and there's where you get a hold of him on Facebook. And Cesar, since we last were together digitally, new president of the United States and a whole bunch of executive orders. So I know you want to go in on that. So go, go, go.
Well, I mean, I almost want to say today's Sunday. The world has survived week 1. However, in addressing, the swearing in from Monday, first of all, the historic and calendar irony of the swearing in of the MAGA president on the day of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But at the same time, and this is a man who, as you remember, Dr. Vibe, he used to call a certain Mark Robinson his Martin Luther King, aka Mark Robinson, that I think South Carolina.
I believe so.
North or South Carolina politician who was basically being a black Nazi on porn sites fetishizing black women, and even talked about rape, and notably referring to white women. Basically, that was the line that was too much for some people, referring to white women by the B word. The swearing in, as I watched it, before I forget, I want to give congratulations to our sister, Michelle Obama, for not showing up. I love the evolution of the sister to go from, and this is something that I really dislike about the Democrats, they're weak. The logic of when they go low, we go high, that's weak. You're facing an opponent who has no problem lying, cheating, etc. And you want to be moralistic. So now, after all the years of insults and everything you want, and please don't get me wrong, Michelle Obama notably replied during the DNC, the Democratic National Convention in the summer. But yeah, she didn't have to be there. She wasn't there. And if I dare to push it further, despite the claims of holding down traditions, so people will say Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and even George Bush had to be there. But a little reminder to those who need it that 4 years ago, Donald Trump did not show up. He was absent. And this is notably following January 6th. So here we have his swearing in which, unsurprisingly, and to our Black Christians who are watching, if you've heard me before, you see me coming. The Black pastor had to be acting a fool. Don't get me wrong, you're going to give the excuses that he's praising as if he was in the church and all that, but please, the black pastor provided the entertainment that not even Carrie Underwood, an official entertainer, didn't provide. That is a problem. We can't be taken seriously, even when we are bucking and jiving for massa. And then Trump proceeded in true Trump fashion to basically insult Joe Biden while he's sitting right there and he has to take it. But insulting in terms of, everything that Biden did during the 4 years of his administration being thrown to the trash. And Trump, on his second term, he knows better now. Basically, he has a better team and he has the experience of a first term. So right away, executive orders in motion. And a lot of people were shocked. And Trump added to the shock how when he went to the World Economic Forum of Davos, World Economic Forum, international bankers, the lady from Banco Santander in Spain, one of the largest banks in the world, letting him know of the weight of what she represents. And Trump couldn't help but remind people of his pride that there's only two genders, male and female. For all our brothers and sisters who are homophobes by ignorance, that is a lie. That's false. There are two sexes, male and female. That's biology. But there's more than two genders. And a very simple example is when even when you don't speak of hermaphrodites, is the fact that right here in North America, just as all over the world among indigenous people, a recognition that some of the tribe members, even family members, don't associate with male and female. And very often they were the ones who were the shamans. They were the ones who were the healers, etc. There was a place for everybody without needing to hurt or kill someone due to the perceived difference and the living realities. This notion that male and female must be in boxes that must fit the majority view, that's very much not European, as many people would say, but that's Abrahamic, that ideological, that religious ideology, which I denounce because of all the hurt that it causes. But to go further than that, on week one, the shock has been Trump blanket pardons of the January 6th rioters. I mean, why is it a shock to many people when the man had been saying it all along? When those people constitute his base, when you have literally this man, Trump, speaking of the January 6th rioters as hostages in front of Israeli families who actually have family members hostage by Hamas. And at the same time, even when we look at it the other way around, many Palestinians consider the family members to be hostages of the Israeli occupation government. The people of January 6th are not hostages. There are rioters and insurrectionists who have been led by a corrupt president that America in majority has chosen to bring back to power. But when we say majority, we have to be honest. The ultimate reason why Kamala Harris lost was not due to a failure of message per se, but truly because millions of people who would have voted Democrat did not show up. And now you have number 47, as you would call him, aka Orange Man, as I call him, aka Trump, bringing his MAGA cult to power with the consequences that we are seeing. And one of those consequences, as we will notably talk later regarding Trump's tariffs, is the very fear of economic wars, which is already starting, notably with Colombia refusing the landing of 2 planes with technically Colombian migrants being kicked out of the USA. And therefore, Trump imposing immediate 25% tariffs on Colombia. People talking about Trump being isolationist and protectionist. No, I am very much of the notion, the political thinking of another conservative. I'm not a conservative, but I'm also not a liberal. But conservative David Frum would notably work for George Bush, talking about Trump as neither protectionist nor isolationist, because Trump is a globalist. He has interests all over the world. But Trump is basically flexing American muscle in a predatory manner, which ultimately will hurt and damage America itself. Even Fareed Zakaria was talking about how Trump grossly exaggerates the impact of trade upon America in order to make his sycophants and his cult fans swallow the pill that America is being invaded or being cheated. And I remember what he said about fentanyl coming to America from Canada. My gosh. I don't work for CBSA. I never crossed the border, but I knew those numbers were grossly exaggerated. But at the same time, you look at the average Trump's. In many studies talk about a large number of Americans thinking Canadians live in igloos. So why wouldn't they believe Trump? Why wouldn't they believe Trump when he makes up those numbers and statistics regarding fentanyl and guns and illegal migrants coming to the US from Canada? They would believe it. In the same way as him trying to bring an amendment, bringing changes to the 14th Amendment regarding birthright citizenship, with the conviction that going to the Supreme Court will basically lead to this right-leaning majority conservative Supreme Court to side with them. The 14th Amendment, which was created to ensure that kidnapped Africans, who would become what today we call African Americans, are indeed citizens, now being denied, and Trump claiming that America is one of the rare countries to do birthright citizenship, which is a total lie. You look at most countries of the Western world, OCDE, like Canada, actually, they do birthright citizenship. I mean, absolutely great on him to be so energetic right from the start. Any employer, anyone voting for someone to have a job would want the person to be motivated and energetic right from the start. But, what is Trump setting America to and the world? Because one of the things that I strongly see, Dr. Vibe, I got to tell you this. It's a window of opportunity for Canada to have more trade and more partners, and to become less dependent, less reliant on the USA. Even when we look at military defense and depending so much on the USA, it becomes really a matter even for the rest of the countries of the world. I mean, if you look at Colombia, you're going to impose 25% tariffs on Colombia. That sounds so painful, but Colombia has the entire Latin America to trade with. There's Brazil right next door, which is the South American giant. You know, Donald Trump is looking at the economy and the world as if it was 50 years ago. Yet the world has changed greatly. And the way I look at his executive orders and everything, like, let me just put it out there for those who don't know. I saw this great thing online, so I'm not even taking the credit for this, regarding African Americans who have survived 400 years, basically 1619 Virginia, 2020 George Floyd, 4 centuries of oppression, humiliation, and everything you want, no matter how many celebrities and even Obama we can claim as success. So yes, Black America will survive another 4 years of Trump. The question is, where will people, America, notably Black people, be at the end of these 4 years? I say this furthermore as many of those who have voted for Trump are going to have a hard pill to swallow, because notably those tariffs will impact them, notably those white farmers of America, those manufacturers. Already I was reading in terms of the steel industry, the impact it's having over there, car making. Anyways.
Lots of stuff going down. What were your thoughts of the billionaire tech people sitting in the front row?
Wow. It was an interesting image. And it was, FYI, it wasn't just billionaire tech. There was a French billionaire, Bernard Arnault, the fourth richest man in the world.
Yes, the man behind LVH, Louis Vuitton Holdings.
Yes, LVH and LVMH and Rihanna's fortune, Fenty. He's the one behind Rihanna is a billionaire. Congratulations to her. But, you need that investment, the original investment coming from Bernard Arnault. The way I look at it is quite simple and normal. Donald Trump, being a transactional president, very open to flattery, is just, as I've always said, what I love about Trump is that he exposes America and the system for what it is. So these billionaires being sat even ahead of would-be secretaries of state and other executives literally lets you know it's business before politics. And as such, Trump and the Trump family are going to be banking on the position even more than they did in the first term. For those who don't understand, let me put it in the language of non-Western countries. That's called corruption. That's what it is. Because you see, this type of scenario, if it's in an African country or Arab or South American country, everybody understands it's corruption. But when it comes to the Western world,
it's business.
They call it lobbying.
Lobbying and business. Yeah.
It's corruption. That's exactly what it is. Elon Musk, conflict of interest. He already gets money from the government through SpaceX and even talking about Tesla regarding electric cars. And now he's a direct advisor and talking about the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. It's you can't hide nor pretend it's corruption. History books will have chapters and entire books about the Trump presidency, the first term of 4 years, but look at even just what the first week has given us. And I haven't even talked about the nomination of the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, with all his antics. Like antics to the point that even I'm having a memory blank. The former Mitch McConnell
voted against it.
Mitch McConnell basically didn't dare to protest Trump when he insulted his wife. Even Mitch McConnell is revulsed at the incompetency and the scandals around Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
We are going to have some
Yeah.
interesting, tumultuous 4 years. This is only week 1.
Well, but what about a few other things? The one that really stands out to me, and I mentioned it on Primetime yesterday, I'm beginning to think, this is just me, that America's a third world country. Why do I say that? The pardoning of 1,500 people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. When I was younger, I used to watch things like this happening in different countries, like through Central America, South America. And if that happened in those countries, those people would be in jail forever. He let these people out. So so that, to me, that defines America for the next 4 years for me. I don't need to look at anything else. Then the real question is, if the majority of those people, or even most of those people, were Black, would they have been released?
First, let us remember, Trump is so unpredictable that the only thing you can predict is chaos. There will be chaos. Organized chaos, but there will be chaos. Absolutely, I do a mea culpa on my assumption that there will be violence if he won. But technically, I was speaking about January 6th or January 20th, as people expected violence if he lost. But he won. And the Democratic Party has been so gracious to accept defeat right away and to ensure a safe/normal transition of power. But now, with the pardoning of these 1,500 J6 rioters, and some of them refusing the pardon because they did come to court admitting their own guilt and recognizing that the system wasn't weaponized against them, that they did wrong, their own families speaking that they did wrong. So why is Trump releasing all of them? I am of the mindset that some have expressed, which is Trump having his own paramilitary force in regards notably to the expectation of civil rights protests, and by civil rights, in brackets, DEI/EDI/equity-based protest. And with his paramilitary, such as the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, one can easily see a response from a group by the name of Antifa. I can expect Trump 2.0 presidency. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But it could be a sharp rise in violence as the rule of physics, action, reaction. These are not the 1950s or 1960s anymore where you can just go and hose down Black people and beat them up with batons and they're going to pray to Jesus and God. People will hit back. And I think this is what they're counting on. Notably, as cops, as much as he claims to be a blue, supporting cops, but he betrayed police. Cops will be limited due to the nature of the job and the law. And even as Trump has admitted thinking of using the military regarding protests, aka using the military against civilians in America, those restrictions don't apply to these J6 rioters that comprise Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, Aryan Nation. American History X is around the corner with a white supremacist bashing the brains out of a brother or sister on the sidewalk I am not an alarmist. I am not a pessimistic type of person, but I'm calling things what they are. His Secretary of Defense has been said to have white supremacist or neo-Nazi tattoos on himself. I don't know this. I've never seen Pete Hegseth naked. I'm saying what I heard from the news. Maybe it's wrong. But he clearly has expressed views that you wouldn't expect of someone expected to have not only professional competencies. I mean, he ran down more than one small organization to the ground, but also character that would befit a notion of authority and respect to the function. But how can you be surprised? Just as then with Matt Gaetz for the Department of Justice, you have the first convicted felon as president. It is the most logical thing that he's going to want to surround himself of people who are like him and who are bound to be yes men and yes women. Which is also part of the reason why we end up seeing someone like one of our brothers, aka Calvin Brothers, aka Snoop Doggy Dogg, suddenly becoming MAGA. Trump is a transactional president. As I was telling one of my sisters, many people bashing Trump, opposing him ideologically, wonderful. How many people will oppose him if Trump offers them a job that pays $1 million? This is how Trump looks at the world. It's a transaction. It's the art of the deal. Apparently, he didn't even write the book. He was greatly helped, and the person regrets having helped him. It's The Apprentice, and the producer came to admit that they apologized for creating a monster. They glossed up the show a lot. But this is Trump. This is the man who basically pardons 1,500 January 6 rioters and still has never offered apology regarding his call to the death sentence of the exonerated Central Park Five. and we will have black people coming to claim Trump is not racist. So if he was black people, how many of them would still be alive by January 7, 2021? For even a thought of any of them being pardoned. Meanwhile, we have Black Panthers who are still in jail here in the United States, political prisoners who stood up for black people without even killing nor harming a single white cop back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, we could spend the whole conversation,
we could.
And I'm thinking you gave me 3 topics. I think we only should do this one and the other one, because the other one is a deep dive, and I think that is definitely in your lane, and it's something that you do as a profession. And I think I think we should only do those 2, so that we could spend so much more time on the executive order. There's so many things that, and maybe the next program will maybe go deeper dive, but so many of them signed in such a short period of time, and people have to realize he said he was going to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
you can't blame the man. You finally have a politician who does what he says he's going to do. Now, don't get me wrong. He's going to backpedal on that whole lowering the prices of.
Oh, that's already
done.
That's already finished. No, that's people don't even remember that now. They don't even remember that now. He's a master of marketing and manipulation, in my opinion. But here's the other thing too, though. It's just so quick. Well, and you talked about the Doge. Vivek is gone,
Yeah, but look, the brown guy in the white supremacist party, what did you think was going to happen to him? Nikki Haley tried as hard as possible to pass for a white woman, which she is, but she's not a white woman of European descent. She's a Dutch Indian, no matter how she tries to hide it with a name like Nikki Haley. to remind them, hey, look up a real Indian name. Meanwhile, JD Vance's wife is also Indian. And you see JD wife, what, Usha Vance?
I don't even know her name. I don't even know her name.
Looking at her husband, swearing in with admiration that he's become vice president, and we share this belief that he's actually worked.
Oh boy. All right. Time is fleeting. So this is the other story we'll just cover for today. The fate of DEI workers in America. Cesar, go.
My brothers and sisters, my sisters and brothers, and white as other non-black allies working in DEI/EDI, diversity, equity, and inclusion in the United States, stay strong. Now, Trump talks about letting go of those working in the federal departments, but you can expect this was actually already happening in Florida at the state level with Governor Ron DeSantis, as some call him. Stay strong. The times will be hard, but guess what? As you see behind me, some of our heroes, some of our leaders, and these are only black men. We should also have a painting of black female heroes. This is the continuation of the civil rights movement. This is the continuation of the Black Power movement. This is the continuation of #Black Lives Matter, the movement, not the organization. We got to make sure to say that. So here, what Trump is doing is to basically create a class of workers, aka segregation, in DEI and whatever some organizations or administration have tried to change the terms, but those who are politically conscious and have a sense of social justice would be let go. So right now they are already on paid leave or some technical term as such, but it's to ultimately have them all fired in order to have in its place people who are loyal to Trump, not even loyal to the Constitution, because technically a DEI worker in America, in Canada, anywhere, is loyal to the Constitution that claims that all men, in bracket, and women are born free and equal. You cannot claim free and equal and reject DEI. This is the same conversation in which you have the hypocrisy of white supremacists, not just MAGA, but white supremacists, including on the left, because there are some on the left on this topic, who will basically want to bash DEI as some type of Marxist, Leninist, communist ideology. Some talk about wokeism. And yet, take a look at what happened this week. We were just talking about him. Isn't Pete Hegseth, the new Secretary of Defense, the very obvious proof of DEI not happening? His only qualification is loyalty to Trump. Give me a break on the fact that he was a soldier who won awards. The guy is a Fox News anchor who has been rocket launched to be Secretary of Defense, aka of the Pentagon. Staff, large power, including access to the nuclear button at 2 a.m. while he might be drunk or might be with some sex worker or trying to sexually assault a woman. I am not here slandering the man. I am speaking based on reports that have come about him, including from his own wife or ex-wife, but notably his own mother and work colleagues. So you have such a character who is being rocket propelled to become Secretary of Defense of the United States under Trump 2.0 hashtag number 47. And DEI workers are to be fired on the spot, pretty much, because they dare to call out white supremacy. They make a bunch of white males feel quite fragile and guilty over the history of whiteness in America and the world. Don't get me wrong. As a professional in the DEI field, I absolutely do agree that some professionals do go too far in the shame and guilt of white people. I am of the conviction that I do not do such, notably as white workers, managers, and senior leaders have clearly come to share to me following a conference or a training that, to the surprise, they weren't made to be feel guilty or ashamed of being white. Any ideology or anything that we do, you can have people who are moderates, you can have people who are more liberal, more conservative, and you can have people who are more extremist. Absolutely, there are DEI workers / professionals will go too far in the shaming and guilting of white people, notably white men, towards history, but also society and politics, economics, as culture. But that doesn't change the fact that DEI is indeed a continuation of the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement, and basically of Black progress. Why you see that the MAGA cult, the Nazis were Christians, extremists, the KKK, Christian extremists, the Inquisition, Christian extremists. If you see where I'm going, MAGA, Christian extremists. It is not a surprise that these white supremacist movements always have an issue with those who stand up for Black liberation and Black progress. Are ideologically opposed, more opposed than Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Because technically, those three ideologies are not opposed, contrary to what people think. They are a continuation. But DEI, EDI is frontally opposed to white supremacy, which is what MAGA is. Dr. Vibe, when you ask a question about the 1,500 January 6th rioters being pardoned, what if they were Black? We all know if they were Black, how many would have been still alive on January 7th, 2021? We know. Joe Biden himself said it when he became president, that it would have been a bloodbath. I am not some Umar Johnson. Salutations to the brother. I am not some Black Panther. I am not saying this as a Pan-Africanist. The former president of the United States said it himself, and the current president of the United States acted on it, freeing those January 6th rioters. And for those who will tell me, Cesar, you're exaggerating, you're going too far. Look at even, what's his name? The Proud Boys' so-called president, Enrique Tarrio. Well, he's Black and Cuban. Well, first of all, Cuban is not a race, it's a nationality. But second of all, He's black. What kind of black? The type of black that associates with white supremacists, such as Candace Owens. Candace Owens is not invited to the cookout where Harriet Tubman will be at. And I know Enrique Tarrio would not be invited to the cookout where Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, and Nelson Mandela would be at. Because they would recognize the brother as a supporter of white supremacists in black skin. That's what it is. So my people who work in the DEI field, brace yourself. It will be hard, but guess what? What do you think is going to start happening in less than 2 years, aka the midterms elections? The pushback. It started, don't get me wrong. Trump's immigration executive order has already been challenged in court by notably attorney generals of many states. Birthright citizenship is already being challenged. Even the move regarding the DEI is already being challenged when you notably look in regards to whether it be Veterans Affairs or whether it be other bodies in challenging what is called Schedule F. So you literally have people who are already organizing themselves, because when you look at, for example, the American Federation of Government Employees, President Everett Kelly, clearly talking about how the federal workforces and organizations should be representing of the nation in the diversity to show the strength. This attack on civil servants is nothing more and nothing less but a smokescreen to have a civil service that is non-political, and to literally create cult members, sycophants to Donald Trump constant quest to be borderline a monarch. Because Trump, and he never denied this. So this is not Cesar. You're exaggerating. What are you talking about? Trump, since his first term, has never denied his love of Kim Jong-il, Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, aka autocrats who have near absolute power on the people. That's what Trump envies. I am so proud and so much in solidarity of our sisters and brothers and non-Black allies working in the DEI sector. It will be hard, but guess what? Our African American brothers and sisters survived 400 years, from Virginia 1619 to George Floyd 2020. They will survive another 4 years of Trump 2.0, and DEI will come back stronger. DEI will come back stronger not because it's DEI, because it is civil rights, because it is a confrontation, ideological confrontation, which spills into socio-political, economic, cultural, and even religious fabrics of not just America, but every family. Remember at the end of last year when we had the joint Canada-USA sessions, in which one of our sisters, I can't remember which one, talking about how she cannot be friends with someone who is a supporter of Donald Trump, because it becomes a matter of values. Basically, at which point do you draw the line? Oh yeah, I support Trump because we need a stronger America. So are you okay with the mistreatment of LGBTQ people, which is bound to happen? This is not just a matter of male and female. We know when it comes to identities, the oppression of the minorities, the official oppression of a minority opens the door to the oppression of other minorities, whether they be sexual minorities, religious minorities, racial minorities. Watch what will happen. 2 years, midterms, 4 years. And this is just not just the dumbing down of America, but this is part of the decline of America. Contrary to what Trump voters may want to think, Donald Trump has just pressed on the gas, on the accelerator of the decline of America. This is similar to what happened back then in Rome. In French, it's called soubresaut. It's the impression of vitality, virility. But then you look at the blowback that comes out of it. Predatory politics on the international stage and further division on domestic stage, which creates action, reaction. People will react. America is just what? 4% of the world population. And domestically, the statistics regarding white population in America are strongly diminishing. And in that, white conservatives, even with the influx of white Latinos and even of white Indians from India, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
One little quick thing before I know you got to go. What do you have? What are your thoughts on these companies now are reversing their DEI policies?
Oh, no, it's totally expected. This is just the same thing as now 4.5 years ago, following. It's not so much following the murder of George Floyd, following the international massive protest against police brutality and systemic racism. Let me help people to understand this in terms of understanding of economics. It is not so much that companies and corporations are there to maximize profit. It is more that they are there to maximize the value of the products, which translates into shareholder revenues, which therefore becomes translated into profits. But profits for whom? As such, what ends up happening, they are looking at the changing landscape of politics and society in which they are making the decision to be rejecting DEI policies. But don't get it twisted. If we can look at Walmart, the world's largest retailer, I believe we can say that, rejecting DEI policies, pay attention to how they change and they manipulate the wording per se. Meanwhile, you have Costco, which, as we speak presently, it might change. We have Costco, which has rejected the rejection of DEI policies. Basically, they have chosen to keep it because of the society that we are in. It is an ideological confrontation in which, even in people's own families, contrary to 2016, people must come more forward in being pro or against Trump. Everybody's for democracy per se, but not everybody is for Trump or against Trump. It's the same thing with these corporations. They are looking at the values of the product and the brand. And this is basically what has happened when you look at someone such as Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook? Do I stay anti-Trump and risk penalties, or do I become a tech bro walking the line as Elon Musk and I can benefit, aka one could say that Elon Musk has made the most rewarding bet in history, as he has gained, I believe it's like 150 to 200 billion dollars since Trump has been elected president, for having invested 25 less than 50 million. A huge payout that's bound to pay out more until the bromance comes to an end. And with Trump, he's so unpredictable. But one thing that we know, the spotlight is to be on him. Don't outdo him. Don't outdo him.
On that note, we're going to call it. Cesar, I know you got to get going. So as always, we want to thank you for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule. Maybe you're continuing your birthday celebrations. Who knows? But as always, if you want to get in contact with Cesar, best way is email president@rootsandculturecanada.com, Facebook, Cesar Remy Emery. Cesar, as always, to you and your family, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. We'll chat soon.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, everyone.
All the best. Take care. All right, everybody. Cesar has to run. So that is it for today. But as always, just some last housekeeping things. Again, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit notification button if you are comfortable doing that. We'd appreciate that. And also, share it out to other people. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. To advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. And you can watch replays of Black Canada Talking on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and the Dr. Vibe Show website, www.thedrvibeshow.com. As always, we like to end off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace. And if you're not making money, make history. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good.